In January 2012, more than a dozen heavily armed tactical police officers swarmed the driveway of a sprawling New Zealand mansion at dawn to seize hard drives, server racks, and a fleet of luxury cars. This chart illustrates global internet traffic volume in 2012. Right here is a single platform responsible for a staggering 4% of all data moving across the web. That massive slice belonged to one man who had made himself the ultimate enemy of the Hollywood machine. He often claimed he was a gifted hacker prodigy who attended an elite castle boarding school. In reality, he went to a standard German public school for lower secondary education and spent time in a home for troubled youth. Growing up in the early 1990s, he noticed that the mainstream media and the public at large had almost no understanding of how computers or the internet functioned. This technological gap provided a path to power for anyone with enough audacity to project the image of a technical master. He started his hustle by running servers to trade pirated software, eavesdropping on his users to steal the terminology and credibility of actual hackers. Armed with the right buzzwords, he rebranded himself as Kimball on German national television. He aggressively promoted software he never actually coded and dubbed himself a nightmare for national telecommunications. When highly sophisticated hackers breached major U.S. institutions like NASA and the Pentagon, Kimball stepped in front of the cameras and claimed credit for the attacks himself. The actual hacker community doubted he even possessed the skills for a basic intrusion. However, mainstream journalists frequently published his wild claims as verified, front-page news. Turning myth into media headlines became his primary weapon, ensuring that public perception consistently overshadowed his lack of actual technical skill. He used his manufactured reputation to launch a cybersecurity firm called Data Protect. He convinced the corporate world that only a master hacker could provide adequate security for their networks. As the dot-com boom reached its peak, his wealth skyrocketed. He publicized his private jets, sprawling estates, and luxury assets to maintain an aura of absolute success. This graph shows exactly how he manipulated the market. He bought cheap shares in a failing e-commerce site, hyped the stock on late-night TV, and immediately cashed out once the price inflated. The scheme collapsed when the broader dot-com bubble burst. His ventures went bankrupt, his escape to Thailand failed, and he was handed a 20-month suspended sentence for insider trading. This public failure motivated him to find a larger, unregulated digital frontier far away from European authorities. By the mid-2000s, he had moved to Hong Kong and launched Mega Upload. He saw that the explosion of broadband was creating massive global demand for fast data transfers. Mega Upload provided enormous cloud storage years before legal streaming alternatives like Netflix existed. It quickly became the default hub for pirated movies and music. He hid the platform's ownership behind a labyrinth of international shell companies, officially registering the operation to a fake Finnish identity named Kim Tim Jim Vister. The site reached 50 million daily users. To maintain this traffic, the platform ran internal reward programs that paid users to upload high-quality copies of copyrighted Hollywood blockbusters. In 2011, he abandoned his anonymity and stepped into the spotlight to publicly claim ownership of the platform as the newly rebranded Kim.com. By choosing mainstream fame over a quiet shadow operation, he transformed himself into a highly visible target for the world's most powerful media conglomerates. From his New Zealand compound, he actively taunted the global film and music industries. He even released provocative music videos featuring major pop stars who publicly endorsed his platform. Hollywood retaliated by using its political lobbying power in Washington. They pressured the U.S. government to classify Mega Upload as an international criminal enterprise. This led to Operation Takedown. Authorities executed simultaneous global asset seizures and forced the entire mega network offline, citing $500 million in damages. He spent over a decade fighting extradition through the New Zealand court system. In August 2024, the government finally signed his extradition order, a situation recently complicated by a severe stroke he suffered in late 2024. Kim.com built a global empire by exploiting a media ecosystem eager for digital antiheroes and an entertainment industry